the Pharma bro, Martin Shkreli or whatever, Shkreli as I call him. I'm kidding, it's Shkreli, but Shkreli, that's a funny name because I think of Shrek. But the whole thing is that he recently got out of prison, and he says that he was using Uniswap in prison, and Hayden Adams is like the creator of Uniswap, and he was like beefing with him, and he was like, "Oh well, he understand that I listened to the Wu Tang album. He bought more recently than him," and he was like kind of going back and forth with him. But Shkreli kind of like changed his tune because for the longest time, when he was kind of doing those live streams or whatever in his apartment in Manhattan, he was like shitting on Bitcoin when people would call in. And now he's singing a different tune. So he recently kind of came out and said to Decrypt, he says that he sees major potential for the use of blockchain and decentralized computing in the pharmaceutical industry and is now working on a software product in that area. So now it's interesting. He actually came out and he says that he owns, in quotes, a smattering of different coins that are tied to some physical reality or financial reality. So anything stable or asset backed is exciting to me. And he says he's very bullish on stable coins, but not algorithmic stable coins. And he says, I think stable coins have been proven probably more than Bitcoin and Ethereum. And he also owns NFTs, but he says that it's more of a joke and he doesn't see any actual intrinsic value. And he doesn't buy them for financial reasons, but more social and humorous reasons. So it's crazy to see that he kind of got into the space because he's isn't he barred from the securities industry and the financial industry forever? So it's like now he's going into crypto. But do you think that his bid into crypto is legitimate, or do you think it's kind of a cash grab? Because obviously, like I said, at one point he was such an outspoken critic of crypto and that whole space, and he kind of chalked it up as bullshit back in the day.
I mean, he's kind of out of options, so you got to think about like can't be in the pharmaceutical industry. He was banned from that. He can't be in the finance industry. He was banned from that. Those are two industries where that's his whole career. His whole career was in one of those two industries. So he's looking for somewhere else to go where he can make money and get back on his feet. So yeah, he'd be more willing to basically accept that since he has nothing else that he can do and he can work towards. So he'd be more willing to basically accept the crypto industry in the predicament that he's in, since he was basically barred from two industries. So a person being barred from an industry, they would be more willing to accept crypto because in the crypto economy, you can't just ban somebody from an industry. They would basically still have control of the money and control of their funds, and they can't be controlled by a central bank. So he basically would still be able to participate in these industries if it was for the crypto economy. So I think this opened up his eyes to basically, crypto. Him being
Yeah, I
banned
mean
opened up.
there are no barriers to entry. There's no really barring anyone from that space if you wanted to like create a project and enter there. That's one of the great things about that space, and I guess it is also a double-edged sword, but the main thing is that, it's probably the freest market that's out there right now, and a lot of people don't realize that, but it really is like the truest form of laissez-faire capitalism on like a pretty big level. Because when you look at stocks and you look at real estate and all these other different things, there are some shenanigans at play for sure, and there are for crypto as well. But the main thing is that, like, if you create a really good crypto product or software that people want, the demand is there, people will use it. If you create an algorithmic stablecoin like Terra Luna and it turns out that it's a piece of shit, it's going to implode, and the self-correcting market will once again correct itself again. Like, that's what people don't get about that whole space, is that it's a beautiful thing. Like, the really, and Buffett talks about this a little bit with equities. He says that money flows from the people who are impatient to the people who are patient, and the people who are patient end up making the lion's share of money. And that's kind of the same thing with crypto. Like, all the companies that are still going to be around are all the companies that kind of played the long game here. Like, Coinbase played the long game. BlockFi didn't really play the long game. That's why they cut 25% of their workforce. And
Who played the
you
long game?
mentioned, I would say Coinbase played the long game for sure.
No, after that, would you say after that?
Well, I said BlockFi didn't play the long game
Oh,
because they cut 25% of their workforce. They were way too aggressive in trying to grow. They had huge issues where they paid out Bitcoin to people for staking, and they mistakenly gave people like millions of dollars in their individual accounts in Bitcoin. Do you remember that? And then the other thing is that they had to be bailed out by Sam Bankman Fried of FTX and a bunch of other people. And like I think Binance is playing the short game. Binance is still hiring through the crypto winter, which is I don't even know how that's possible. How are they hiring through a crypto winter where literally even Coinbase is basically not hiring people and they actually rescinded all the job offers they sent out?
well,
So
this
how
is
the
what
fuck
they
does that
said.
happen?
They said they're able to hire through the winter because they were very, they cared about their balance sheet. They didn't do these Super Bowl ads that everybody else was doing, and they didn't waste money on advertising and such. But yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried, he didn't just bail out these platforms out of the kindness of his heart. He gave 250 million to BlockFi. He gave 500 million to Voyager, and he did this because this hedge fund, this crypto hedge fund, Three Arrows Capital, they got margin called and they lost
600,
basically massive.
661 million. That was the
Right,
number.
exactly.
Crazy.
661 million. No, I think it was $666 million that they lost.